good evening from the UK, or good morning wherever you are. Good night, good afternoon. It's exciting to be with you guys today. I know it's been a while. We did some live, and I felt it's necessary that we have some conversation with the community. So I want to appreciate you wherever you are joining me today or joining me in the replay. I still appreciate your effort. Thank you so much. And I believe you've been having a great time. You've been having a wonderful moment with your spouse, with your family. And it's really, really important that we make it a duty to just want to make sure. I'm not too sure. I hope this is working properly. Yeah, I think so. I should believe so. Yeah, I believe you can hear me. Let me be sure. Yeah, you can hear me, I think. Right. Okay. So I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. Now, today, you want to talk about something really, really important. Okay. Really, 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 really important. Okay. Right. Today is quite an interesting one. I will be talking about something I believe is really, really important, which is very common, but I think is something we need to talk about. We need to talk about unreasonable behavior in marriage. Okay, unreasonable behavior in marriage. Unreasonable behavior in marriage. I think this is this is quite common. Honestly, this is quite common. Overcoming unreasonable behavior in marriage. This is quite common, but we need to find out what exactly is unreasonable behavior. What do we call unreasonable behavior? Because the statistics in many divorce research shows that unreasonable behavior is one of the top on the list that couples cites these days why they go their separate ways. And it's important that we ask ourselves, what exactly is unreasonable behavior in marriage? What exactly is unreasonable behavior in marriage? If you know that, put it in the chat. Let me know in the comment later. But we need to know what exactly is unreasonable behavior in marriage. Marriage is made up of two people. As a Christian, it's made up from a male and a female, and they're supposed to live in harmony and peace in a life of fulfillment, being satisfied, working, being with each other. But when unreasonable behavior become the norm, what exactly are we calling unreasonable behavior in our relationship? I think you can put it in this way: is when we disagree. Okay, I think that's how I'm going to summarize it. To be honest, when we disagree, it could be when we have repeated pattern of behavior, action, attitude, mannerism, anything that violates our respect, anything that violates being fair towards us, or violates our safety, or goes against our mutuality, equity, or when something is obviously disproportionately towards us. Now that creates an issue for sure. Unfortunately, when this thing happens, the other spouse will not acknowledge it. They won't even find a way to repair. They won't find a way to adjust, even though the impact is very clear. But when the other spouse is trying to name exactly what is this repeated pattern, what is this thing violating their lives, or violating their safety, violating their being, violating the the vows in their marriage and relationship. At the end of the day, it boils down to what I say, disagreement, right? So let me put it this way. When you have a pattern and the pattern is creating harmful impact plus no repair, that's unreasonable. In your marriage, in your relationship, when you have a pattern of behavior that is either learned or natural to you, plus harmful impact to your spouse, it creates negative effect on your spouse. And even when they try to bring it up to you, you don't want to adjust, you don't want any repair, you don't want to acknowledge and find a way to deal with whatever is the issue. That equals to unreasonable behavior. So ask yourself what my spouse is saying. Am I being unreasonable about it? So it's important to talk about what are the signs. How do you know someone is unreasonable? How do you know your spouse is unreasonable? How do you know that they are not agreeing or necessarily looking for a way to adjust to ensure that whatever you guys are going through is managed or navigated in a way that there is peace, harmony, and still connection at the end of the day? One of them is communication attacks. One common unreasonable behavior that creates a lot of pain in relationship is communication attacks. When there is name calling, when there is mocking, something has happened. Instead of you to find a way to support your spouse or find a way to deal with whatever is going on, you say things like, you are pathetic, you are foolish, you are stupid, grow up. You use all those words that is so unfortunate. Sometimes you yell to intimidate your spouse so that you can win the argument. Slamming the doors, looming around. When you have protracted, chronic, intentional, what I call silent treatment, stonewalling, sometimes you use that to punish. You use that to get your way. You use that to create real pain towards your spouse. That all constitute communication attack towards your spouse, directly or indirectly. Secondly, you have gaslighting and blame shifting. When you deny clearly facts that points to you as the issue, or you try to rewrite whatever has happened in order to make your spouse feel like they are the problem, you're crazy, you're sensitive, you're not listening, you're this, you're that. If you don't deal with this, it creates more distance. Or sometimes you hear them say, if you didn't ask, I wouldn't have had to lie. Now they have a habitual issue of lying, of being dishonest, not being open and transparent. But they use gaslighting to cover up, and sometimes they bring it back to you and make you feel like something is wrong with you. And you begin to question or second guess anything you say. Number three, moving goalposts and double standards. Agreement keeps changing mid discussions. Now, rules for you and rules for them. These things can create a lot of problems. So you're not a man of your words, you're not a woman of your word. Whenever you say things, in a couple of seconds later you change. And sometimes you even forget what you said in the beginning. Or sometimes you know, but because you're looking for a way to create unnecessary pain in your spouse. Let's say, for instance, a spending limit of $200, pounds, or whatever currency you use in your country. And then the other spouse keeps to them, but you never. And then whenever they ask, oh, sorry, I changed my mind when I'm about to buy something or when I wanted to purchase that thing. Then another sign is boundary violations. This is where, not for fairness, not for trying to support or help each other, they they take their spouse's phone just for spite, just to find out if they can get anything out of there, right? Or they intentionally try to bully their spouse in sharing locations, and that is trauma they're dealing with. But they use it to manipulate. They track locations. Um, they hide private informations. Uh, they keep things that they're not supposed to keep. So you have this breaking different kind of codes in the marriage and relationship that is really really annoying. Someone says no, but they will push clearly past beyond the law. The time, the touch, the topic, the discussion, whatever it is, they just find a way to make the other person feel that they are violating everything they stand for. Another sign of unreasonable behavior is control and isolation. See, when you dictate to your spouse what friends to keep, what clothes to wear, the schedules they need to keep, or you guilt trip them, you try to keep them away from their family, your friends, or people that can support and help them, or you're monitoring their calls, you clone their WhatsApp, you're monitoring their social medias, you are exploiting them in so many ways. And most times you explode. The truth is that you don't even want them to have independence, you don't want them to have life because you are their life, you're the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. Now, that is a serious unreasonable behavior that can create a lot of pain in the relationship. These are signs that shows that there's an unreasonable behavior there. What about financial harm? When someone is taking debts, they're hiding debts, they are restricting access to money, they use money to punish the other person, they do large processes without any agreement, they sabotage your dreams, your goals because you want to spend some money. You guys agree on certain things, but they go behind your back and do different things. These are just signs of unreasonable behavior. Whenever you bring it up to them, they don't listen, they don't want to talk about it. They argue, and sometimes they scream and they shout. And before you know what is going to happen next, they start keeping silence. And then they start withdrawing from you. Some others are sexual pressure or coercion. They threaten you with divorce if you don't spend time with them. They use sex to bargain, to get their way. They guilt trip you in the bedroom, right? They ignore any issue around consent. They refuse um, to listen to you when you say things that they shouldn't do to your body or something. There's this forcefulness, there's just this bullying happening in the bedroom, and you're left stranded, you're left helpless, you're left without knowing what to do or where to turn to. This behavior is an unreasonable behavior. Or they use digital aggression. This digital aggression comes around, they publicly publish posts, if you know what I mean, on their WhatsApp status, on Facebook, on Instagram, or whichever social media they use, indirectly to attack you, indirectly to demean you, indirectly to vilify you. You know what I mean? So they post all these private images, or they create a public persona of you that you are just wicked person. They don't stand for you in front of their parents or family. They're only speaking back about you publicly. Sometimes they use household to weaponize incompetence. They don't want to do anything because they say, this is the way I am. I don't think I can learn how to cook. I don't think I can learn how to clean. I don't think I can learn how to do basic tasks. Okay. Everything about them is just nagging, shouting, screaming over your life because they feel that they're not supposed to do anything or support at home, which is very, very sad. Sometimes they revenge everything that happened, they will keep score. They remind you of things that happen all the time in the marriage, in the relationship. They find a way to guilt trip you in a point that you are so upset and you don't even know what to do. And you forgive them. You don't bring things in the past, but they keep bringing things in the past all the time so that they can gain power over you. It's like tit for tat. They do things just to say that I have to make sure that we're even in our revenge, in our score, in this or that. Unreasonable behavior is where they've done something wrong. You forgive them, but they don't want to forgive you. They say they have, but any little thing, they will bring that thing back again. That's unreasonable behavior. That is just wickedness. That is sad. Okay. So it's really, really important for you to understand some of these dynamics and why these things are happening. I know that some people might claim that they are so stressed, that's why they are harming their spouse, that's why they're causing them a lot of pain. Some will say they are going through grief, that's why they are creating this uncomfortable environment in their relationship. Some will say they have neurodiversity, some will say they have ADHD. Now, I'm not saying that these things don't happen, but when they manipulate other people by using this to cause a lot of pain, some say because they have anxiety, some say because they have some traditional cultural behavior, or their cultural man or their traditional man. They explain anything just to get their way. They excuse their patterns of pain that they're causing to you just to get their way with using all these things. But the impact is very clear. They're not even willing to seek help. They're not willing to change. They're not willing to adjust. They're not willing to move their goalposts. They're in one place and they just want to remain like that. That is a dangerous place to be. So when you think about these kind of situations, how are you going to deal with it? What can you do to start changing the dynamics of this individual? Because some of them have this thing, they say this is the problem, this is the root cause. Yeah, we get it. Some of these things can be root cause in the relationship, but we can't just use that to continue to harm someone, right? The reality is that let's give some grace to some of this event, but there's still something that we need to understand. Some of the risk factors that I know and that I've seen is some people might have issues like they've not slept, they have debt, or they have alcohol issues, or they have one bad habit issues, or they have chronic stress that can become an issue for them not to be fully normal. Okay. Other people is because of unhealed trauma. They attach everything to this particular thing that is happening to them. They have this fear of abandonment, they have this control issue when they were growing up. There's several kind of trauma that can create a lot of problem in relationship. Some people grew up watching their parents do all these things. They watch how stonewalling was happening in their relationship, in their parents, in their lives, in their past relationship. They saw how shouting, yelling was normal, and then they model it. Now they are practicing it in their own homes. And when all these things are happening very clearly to them, there's no time they find out whether somebody's trying to listen or trying to understand each other, or they're taking the time out or find a way to repair what is creating this pain. They just accept there's a skill gap in their family, in their marriage, in their relationship, and they just keep going like that. Some people, for whatever reason, because of their gender, they just feel entitled, and they use their gender as weapon, or they use their natural weaknesses why they remain the way they are. Some other people could be all kind of hidden stuff. Some people are pornography addicts, and that this is creating problem in the bedrooms. Some people cannot just handle any financial pressure. So many things can become a big problem that can create reissue. So when this pattern is there and is creating this impact and there is no way to repair, then it becomes unreasonable. The question now is, what are you going to do? How do you actually find a way to resolve an issue like this? You've identified unreasonable behavior in your relationship and you've tried to find a way for you guys to deal with this. What are you supposed to do? How do you um, come out of this other side that is better to change? I will use a three-step means. First and foremost, I think it's good for you to just pause. Pause, you that is creating this unreasonable behavior. And I would want to encourage anyone that is watching this and you've noticed that these things exist in your marriage, in your relationship. If you're the one that is doing this, I think it's important that you just pause and ask yourself, how long are you going to continue to be like this? How long will you continue to harm your spouse? How long will you continue to be in this situation? How are you going to change this? How are you going to change the dynamics? Because this is really important. If you don't do anything about this, your relationship will continue to be in a very difficult place. And I don't think it's fair on your spouse to continue to live like that. So I would like you to understand that you can change, you can be better, you can seek for help. But I will talk about how we can manage and overcome unreasonable behavior in our marriage when we come back from the break. So, and if you're watching this, you've not subscribed to our channel, make sure you do so and comment as well so we can find a way to support you going forward. So, I'll be back after this short break. Right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So, we were talking about unreasonable behavior, and we talked about that it is really important for you to uh, look into yourself and check whether there is a presence of unreasonable behavior in the relationship. And we've talked about the signs. And if you know those signs exist, you can see they are there, then what are you going to do about it? What can you change? What can be different? But you have to decide if you want things to change. Okay. So, first thing you need to do, this is really important. Okay. Number one, define it. What exactly is the unreasonable behavior? Whether the one perpetrating the unreasonable behavior or the one that is going through the pain of unreasonable behavior. Number one, define it. You have to define it. Because when you define it, it gives you opportunity to understand what exactly is happening here, what exactly is going on. So know the pattern. What impact is he having? I always say you might do it this way. You might just keep a log, right? This is not having scores, but just keep a log. Just facts only. What happened? What words were used, right? Um, what actions? How were you feeling? What repair, if any, was offered or not offered? Just keep a log. Start from there. Don't confront, don't scream, don't shout. Stay calm. But let's keep a log. Let's define what exactly is this unreasonable behavior. Number two, you need to ask yourself one question, and that happens now. Sought for safety. Now, if this is involving any form of violence, aggressions, or threats, if you're very afraid of your life, if this involves a kind of bodily harm or damage, I think it's important that your safety comes first. So you need to think about safety plan. Trusted contact. You might use a code word to someone. Do whatever you can to ensure that you remove yourself from a place where things might really go very, very bad with you, regardless of what it is. But if we don't have any of that, I think it's important to remain calm. You've just done the documentation, you have just put a lot of things in place. And even when things are not aggressive, but you still need to understand that safety is important to your life, and safety is important to resolve the issue going forward. Okay. And then we're going to do what I call the PSR reset. Number one, calm the storm first. Pause. I know you are getting flooded right now. I know a lot is going on. I know so many things are happening. And this thing has been repeating itself over and over and over again. What are you going to do right now? Take some time out. Say you're going to come back to this. Not necessarily with the perpetrator, you come back to this. Take some time out. Soothe, soothe, right? Breathe. Okay. No testing via phone, no argument, no screaming, no shouting. Just stay calm. The next hour is reconnect. Find time to have the conversation. Tell them that you guys need to talk. Make sure that everybody's ready to listen. Everybody's ready to get involved in the whole conversation. But you must put a clear rule, no interruption. Each person must find a way to understand what is going on in each other's life. Don't interrupt. When you do that, then you can have very good conversation. And the conversation will go in this form where you want to set some loving boundaries. I call it the frame loving boundaries. When, need, will, or want. When voices are raised on me or names are called, there is no derogatory and demean, I shut down. So what I need going forward is a respectful words, encouraging and lifting words. I will pause the talk. If insult starts or you begin to yell or slam the door or say words that are very, very disrespectful, I won't continue a conversation with name calling. This is very simple. So pick your three non-negotiables, e.g., no insults, no phone snubbing, no spending certain amount of whatever without agreement, no shouting, no this, no that. Set your rules and make it very clean, make it very clear. The other person also will say, yes, you guys find a way to adjust, find a way to look for a way to repair what is going on. Otherwise, if things continue like this, it's just going to get so bad for both of you. And then have the repair talk. Okay. Have the repair talk. Issue, impact, insight, invitation. So when plans change last minute, which is the issue, I scramble to find someone to look after the kids. I feel unimportant, which is the impact. I think we both are maybe too busy not to see that we need support from each other. So can we try better next time to plan ahead so that we don't get ourselves in this situation? That's a way to talk if you want to repair things. And remember, the timer is 2 minutes. Each person talk, no diagnosing, no reflecting, no shouting, no screaming. Just understand what each other is saying. And anytime you are trying to build something around unreasonable behavior, you must have a house rule. If you don't have one, create one. It's signposted. Everybody knows about it. No name calling, no threats, no walking out without any plan. Um, Make sure this happens. No this, no that. When there's a timeout, automatically we return after so time. When rules breaks, you pause. This is the issue. This is the problem. Come back. You need to have clear house rules to manage situations like this. My marriage, we have a lot of rules. Even with the rules, one of the rules we have, and also with the kids, is that no one should say negative words here. If you say negative words, you will kneel down for 2 minutes and you raise your hands up and then you talk to God for forgiveness and to help you not to do that anymore. Now, it doesn't matter where you did or say that outside, inside, on holiday, when we come back into the house, you're going to do it. It's just a rule, it's a principle because we don't want you speaking or saying things that's going to hurt other people. And then every weekend, even if it's just 10, 15 minutes, just appreciate each other, right? Talk about how you guys have felt during the week. Talk about the event, what has happened. Talk about maybe where you were hurt or what all things would have been said differently or better. Just find a way to reconnect because these micro little checkpoints, you do it during the day, you do it during the weekend, they have a long way to increase your connectivity and also to shift the consistent unreasonable behavior. Because when you name that unreasonable behavior, you're trying to break the pattern. You're trying to find out what is exactly the root. So this is why conversation with your spouse is really, really important. You're not there to attack them. You're not there to do anything that's going to hurt them. But you must be very clear on what you guys want to do. Agree on the consequences. Okay. When you break the rule, this was going to happen. When you repeat it in another day, this is what's going to happen. If you repeat it every week, this is what's going to happen. So be very clear in your consequences. Both of you should agree on it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to continue to have things like this. When somebody is giving you a particular behavior, you must find a, what I call it, reasonable script in order to deal with the situation. If they're giving you silent treatment or moving goalposts, or they're just jabbing you publicly on their status on their phones, then you need to have phrase or script on how to handle that. Okay. For whatever reason, if you have tried to do all this and this thing continues, this thing is persistent in your marriage and relationship, then you need to seek for help. I call that you need to get an external help. You need proper support, maybe to manage some of these neurodiversity, maybe D issues in your life, maybe anger problem, anxiety, maybe addiction. So whatever it is, it's important for you to be clear on what needs to be done and what needs to change. And over time, find a way to track your progress as well. Track your progress. Okay. Check what happens this week. Were we respectful to each other? 1 to 5. Did we repeat the pattern? 1 to 5. Did we repair quickly? 1 to 5. Did we forgive easily? 1 to 5. When we spoke to each other, did we calm down? 1 to 5. Did we connect or have fun this week? 1 to 5. Just have a metrics, like check what is going on. And at the end of the day, you'll be amazed on how some of the unreasonable behaviors will begin to leave your relationship. This is quite a brief conversation I wanted to have with you, but I wanted to say that the fact that people are citing unreasonable behavior in the reason why they want to go their separate ways, and like I said from the beginning, is simply we disagree. And that's what it is. So if you think about it in your own relationship right now, how do you manage it? How do you deal with it? How do you try to change or evolve from there? Because unreasonable behavior simply means a repeated pattern of behavior that violates somebody's respect, somebody's fairness, safety of your marriage, mutuality, equity, in a way that it creates pain, even when there's an attempt to repair it. So, pattern plus harmful impact plus no repair is equals to unreasonable behavior. And I hope you're not unreasonable with your spouse. You find a way to work together. You find a way to build relationship that actually works and that can support both of you in the long run. Overcoming unreasonable behavior is possible, but you must make up your mind to get involved. Don't sit in the fence. If you're watching this and you believe that unreasonable behavior has been very common in your relationship, then try to do something about it. Don't just be silent and die in silence. Okay. If you're the one that is giving this unreasonable behavior, do you want to think about your approach again? Think about some of the things you do. And if you're the one that is suffering this, or whichever form this is being, uh, you know, visible in your relationship, then find a way to handle it and to change. So I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions, please drop it on the comment. Make sure you share this with your friends and family or with your spouse. You just don't know. This might just be very helpful and supportive to their way of changing and learning and growing. So enjoy the rest of your day. I will speak to you some other time next week. God bless you and remain peaceful.